All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Natasha Trivers, and I'm the proud CEO of Democracy Prep Public Schools. As a growing organization with a mission to educate the future's change makers, we know the importance of listening to our alumni, our scholars, and our families to truly understand how we can continue to improve to better serve them. We are here today to hear from alumni who have experienced the difference that a democracy prep education has made in their life. And I'm here to say that especially in the past years, we've also become stronger in service of our audacious mission due to the input and the hard work of our illustrious growing network of democracy prep alumni. We are proud to have over 1,700 alums that are doing amazing things in college and in the world. I am incredibly honored to introduce to you this evening or this afternoon, if you're on the West Coast, our host for this event, Norberto Troncoso. Norberto is a Dominican Puerto Rican American from the Highbridge neighborhood in the Bronx and a proud 2013 alum of Bronx Prep High School. He currently teaches theater at the school, which started his love for performing arts and public speaking. And he aims to give back and pour into a community that did so much for him. He also currently coaches the Democracy Prep speech and debate team alongside master coaches Rosie and Luis, and he has seen tremendous success and consistent wins with his scholars during his time at DP. If you have not seen the speech and debate team in action or read about their accolades, please do. He is eager to serve and excel because he believes our scholars have limitless potential. Proud to pass the mic to Norberto.
Thank you so much, Natasha. And hello, everyone. Welcome to an amazing evening. It's going to be amazing. Speaking with really family. And I think ultimately it's said that, going from high school, middle school, and just simply sifting through to college, you remember your time in high school and you remember the people that made such an impact. And really, we're just going to talk. We're going to just chat amongst each other about the impact that Democracy Prep had on us and had on really the community. And ultimately, what that means for the next generation and what we can do to support. I am joined by some really top tier, legendary folk. Starting off with Daniel Clark Jr., Democracy Prep Charter High School 2014, a proud alumnus and Navid Harlemite. Daniel Clark Jr. was awarded the Gates Millennium Scholarship and becomes the first person in his family to graduate from college. While attending Vanderbilt University, Daniel found his voice and became passionate about helping young people of color from low-income communities push through socioeconomic obstacles so they too can become powerful leaders and change agents in their communities. Daniel is currently finishing up his master's at Teachers College in Columbia University, and he hopes to one day open up an education program that serves the needs of low-income students of color. We got Daniel Clark Jr., DP Charter High 2014. Next up, we have Khadija Kaba, a graduate from Harlem Prep High School founding class of 2020. Khadija was accepted into Syracuse, her dream school. Khadija discovered her love for business and entrepreneurship as a sophomore at Syracuse University, where she majored in economics with a minor in communications and rhetorical studies. She also discovered her abilities to use her voice and speak up on issues she is passionate about. Khadija is currently very active on campus, serving as the social media chair and programming chair for the African Student Union, as well as being a member of the One World Dance Team and the National Association of Black Accountants. Khadija's dreams of one day running a multitude of enterprises all over the world, while also returning to Africa and giving back to her home country of Ghana. We also have Kayla Donovan. Kayla Donovan is an African-American aspiring healthcare provider, born and raised in the Bronx. Upon graduating from Democracy Prep Charter High School in 2017, Kayla attended Emory University. And while at Emory, Kayla double majored in psychology and women's studies. On her free time, Kayla served low-income Metro Atlanta communities through tutoring youth ages 5 to 13 in math, English, and science. And as she prepares to apply for physician assistant school, Kayla is currently a medical scribe at CityMD Urgent Care. Last but not least, we have Eduardo Ramos. Eduardo Ramos is an Ecuadorian American from Washington Heights, a predominantly Dominican neighborhood in Upper Manhattan, a 2020 alum of Harlem Prep High School. He is currently a sophomore, soon to be junior at Boston College, majoring in studio art with a concentration in architecture. And it all started with wanting to give back to his community in more ways than just one. And now, relation to unreasonable gentrification. He is heavily involved with many of Boston College's student of color-oriented clubs, events, and organizations, along with other Democracy Prep alumni. As he is still trying to find his place at Boston College, he goes about life day by day, not worrying too much about the future, the past, but more so the present. So this is our panel. We are so excited to be able to talk to you guys. And I want to just start off with the question of, what was your favorite positive memory from your time at Democracy Prep? And I would love to have Kayla go for it.
My favorite positive memory was junior year, the international trip to Korea. For me, that was my first time traveling outside of the country. And it was an amazing opportunity for me to experience a different culture. And most teens at my age did not have the opportunity at 16. I could say that I traveled to a whole different country without my mom. So I was very proud to be able to do that.
Oh, we stand that, absolutely. And I've been hearing a lot about these international trips, and I'm like, yes, the fact that you guys get to travel so much is like awesome. That's really great. I wanted to go over to Daniel. How's your favorite positive memory from Democracy Prep?
Oh man, I have so many memories of my time at Democracy Prep, and it was quite the experience. But my favorite memory was having a chance to speak at a panel at Harvard University and talking to professors and policymakers and the movers and shakers up in the education sector about my experience at Democracy Prep, and talking about the rigor and how it was pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I remember after that conversation, I had a few professors come up to me and give me their business cards and tell me, I was 12 years old, when you're ready, Harvard, send me an email. And I'll never forget that that those warm affirmations. I think that was definitely one of my favorite moments at Democracy Prep.
Thank you for that. And I think what you said was really like important, just hearing those words of affirmations of like, we see you and you're doing a phenomenal job and we want to hear more about what it is, because it's not always easy, but you're pushing through and you're doing your thing. Absolutely, man. That's great. And ultimately, when we think about this, when we think about, you know, the positive memories that have come before us, and I know that a lot of kids have memories that they're going through, we think about the future as well. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think about like, where are you at with that? Would you speak to that, Khadijah? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are you aiming towards?
In 5 years, I see myself graduating with my bachelor's and being back in Syracuse to get my master's with a focus in economics. Like, I don't know what specifically yet, but as I continue to take more econ classes, I'm gonna choose what I'm most interested in and focus on that and major in that when I graduate in master's.
Nice. And focusing in on the econ classes. And Eduardo, how would you say to that? What would exactly be your plan for the future? I know you're somebody that says that you like to kind of live in the present. What are you feeling like you're building in the present right now that's helping you out towards the future?
I major in studio art and I want to do architecture with that. But in 5 years, I see myself, we're already fulfilling my experience going to out of state college, and I wanted to do my master's in the city, New York City. And and pursuing architecture and wanting to give back to my community, and but life doesn't always go the way you want it to, so I'm still open to like whatever, right? um but in 5 years, where am I? I'm a sophomore now. 5 years I would be a junior fulfilling my master's. Like even now I just feel like I'm just stressed, but that's a part of everything. Like you want to do what you want to do, and you just gotta you gotta be on it, so I just see myself not giving up in like my profession.
Definitely, and keeping pushing forward. And I think what you said is also is important, just the fact of needing to like push through and going through that. And I did want to circle back because I am curious of your positive memories as well. Khadija and Eduardo as well. Like what was your favorite positive memory from your time at Democracy Prep? Because I mean, just thinking about whether you've attended also the middle and the elementary schools, I mean, I imagine it's probably something that's hugely profound.
For me, it's not necessarily like a memory. It's just like throughout every year in Democracy Prep, I feel like we really like built this family, and we had like a connection with all of us because we were the founding members in 2020. So when we went to high school, we were always the first grade, and we were always like, okay, we're gonna try this and see how it works. And all of us just being there for each other. And still to this day, I look at everybody in my graduation class as like my brothers and sisters because we all graduated from the middle school to the high school. So having those people and them helping me, like, I honestly feel like I wouldn't be in Syracuse, or like I wouldn't even be who I am if I didn't go to the high school and took that leap of faith instead of going to a different high school. So I really appreciate Democracy Prep, Harlem Prep, the teachers, the staff, and the students for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would like to add on to what Khadija said. I necessarily didn't go to I transferred in my junior year of high school into HBHS, but I did see like the family that was built around the founding grade, and I knew some people in that class, and I just embraced it. And one really hard memory that I would never forget was going to South Korea, like Kayla. Um, that whole spring break, it was 2019 or 2018, I forgot. But I started to click more with the people in my grade because I was new, of course, and also like experiencing this new culture in South Korea, and like bursting out of your comfort zone. And it was really eye-opening and something I'll never forget because it pushed me to like not want to give up. Like it just set a whole new track for me and my mentality and where I was at the moment.
Thank you so much. And loving the fact of hearing the whole art of perseverance in you guys. This is great. And also flipping the script because we gotta hear um as well from Daniel and Kayla, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Um, One thing I've learned in my time out of Democracy Prep and in college and now in grad school is we have a lot of beautiful, smart, intelligent kids in these communities, and it is our job to empower these kids. And I'm right now. I'm at the Teachers College, and it's an amazing institution, but still there's a dearth of kids who have really had these experiences. And it's important that we get as many kids from these communities into these institutions as possible so they could become change agents for their communities and be voices for their communities. So in 5 years, I see myself leading, continuing the work that Democracy Prep is doing, whether it's through some kind of nonprofit, where we're motivating kids to get through school and push and get to college and excel in college so they can be difference makers, whether it's through a nonprofit or through a school or working at a charter school. I just want to empower these kids because I see our potential. And it wasn't until I was able to go to college and really be open about my experiences growing up in Harlem, that I realized how smart and how capable I was. And every student from these communities deserve to feel the same way I feel, because it's true. So that's where I'm going to be in 5 years.
For me, in 5 years, I'm hoping that I'll be graduating from physician assistant school and moving back to Georgia, where I went to school. Being away at college allowed me to appreciate other places beyond New York City. I remember when I was younger, my mom wanted to move, and I was just so opposed. But going away in Georgia has made me realize that there are other areas where you can settle down, and New York isn't the end. And for me, I would like to thank DP because they pushed me to go away to college and not stay in my comfort zone where I was in New York City. So I would love to move back to Georgia by 5 years from now.
So what are you thinking about in Georgia? You're thinking like ATL, or you don't know specifically?
I would like to work in Atlanta because they have a lot of great hospitals. Emory has one, Grady is great, but I don't want to live in the city. I've had enough of the city life. So I would like to live in a more quiet place.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. We take those. No, I appreciate that. I think ultimately it is one of those things where when you see yourself later on, you're like, oh, I would like to be this place in my life. And I know I like Daniel because Daniel legit was like, I'm gonna get there. And I know for a fact it's like absolutely, because I come from the land of like we don't lose, we learn. And I think ultimately that crescendo, that moving forward is really awesome. And I wanted to know then, like, how did a democracy prep curriculum then prepare you for a life beyond DP, like, or in some cases beyond New York? Because I mean, for you, Kayla, you're like, I saw I had a taste of not New York, and I'm like, maybe I want to go back.
Well, this curriculum definitely instilled discipline in me because at DP they didn't budge with deadlines, and it made me a better student in college. I had an agenda and I was checking things off. And also, I would like to say the Change the World project, which is the senior project. You work from September to about May, June. That helped me in college because I wasn't intimidated by long papers. I was a psychology major and we had long, extensive research papers. And because my Change the World project was over 20 pages, my freshman year, I was able to tackle and use the strategies that DP has taught me. So it made me a more confident student and less overwhelmed because I had been doing college work already my senior year.
Thank you for that. Let's go, Khadijah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Kayla, and I also wanted to add on that I'm only a sophomore in college. I've only been at DP for 2 years, but going to DP and getting like all the work and assignments that we had to do and everything we had to do really helped me manage my time here in college, because here we get like essays, we get homework, like weekly homework, and it's also like some classes you get one assignment like here and there every month. So it helped me be organized, it helped me like read the syllabus and understand like, okay, I have this assignment due May 1st, let me start in April instead of procrastinating and like having better time management skills. And I feel like DP helped me with that because like we had homework every single day and it was due the next day. So being able to do that every day, I'm like, oh, I could do this. Like college is really, the homework is not going to be that difficult. Just set my time, just spread my time out in the week where I could be able to do it and also be able to have a social life. So that's what I really appreciate about DP. It helped me like know when it's time for work and know when it's time to have fun. And I've been using that and it's been very useful to me in college now.
Having that useful tool of like the art of consistency, I think definitely is a very big thing, because just to just to know it's like, I got to do this today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It's like, Mr. Miss, can you please stop? And then you realize, oh, you're so equipped when you go to college. It's not even a game anymore. It's like, it's crazy. How about you, Eduardo?
So yeah, tracking back to what I said about transferring into DP my junior year, my first high school, I realized that it was not as challenging as it should have been for me because I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere. And so I took the liberty in transferring myself out and going into democracy prep because I knew the curriculum was harder and it was more college preppy, and I needed that if I wanted to get where I'm at today, right? And you know, it was definitely harder and more challenging, but it was something I was not able to do, you know, like it was doable. And after going in junior and senior year, right, it has definitely prepared me for like the college life, like here at Boston College. And you know, going back to the Change the World project, my senior year, my focus was on gang violence in my community, and I feel like that was something that really in high school, like you don't really take consideration like about the things that go on around you. You're more focused about the things you're doing and like your friends, being social, whatever. But my senior year in high school, I embraced the fact that there are communities that are very dangerous, and we need to take there are steps that need to be taken in order to make these communities safer for not for my generation but for like the next generations coming. So coming into college, I like embraced that need to want to give back to my community, and in doing so, I could do that in more ways than just one. And coming to Boston College and finding my major, I wanted to do it through architecture. So um, you know, democracy prep has really like prepared me in what I want to do in my life and to who I wanted to impact.
Thank you.
So I'll just quickly echo what everybody has said. You know, democracy prep was definitely difficult. But you know, you learn, as I'm sure we're learning, college is also difficult, and so is life. And democracy prep gave me the tough love and the rigor that I needed to be exposed to, that I could compete with these people that are really making a difference. Like I remember when I was in democracy prep, I was late all the time. At this issue, I would come in at 7:50. I'd run, and I thought it was a game. I'd laugh, and I get the tension. And then when I'm, you know, as an adult, you come in late. You know, you miss a portion of the lecture. The professor is not gonna. She's not gonna laugh. And when you become an adult, you're late to your job. You might get fired. So these are the lessons that you learn that they're trying to prepare you for early. That you now have exposed that you're now exposed to. So it was definitely hard. It was definitely rigorous, but I appreciate them for being challenging, and I learned a lot of life skills that I need and that I have now as a result.
Thank you for that, Daniel. And I think ultimately what you and Eduardo said something that I think was really crucial is the fact that at first you look at the rigor, but you sometimes don't realize until later the results of that rigor. And I think that's an important thing to always recognize is that hard work pays off. Teamwork does make the dream work. And the only way you're going to find out is by going through it. And thank you guys for that. I'm thinking about the fact that like the DP motto is work hard, go to college, change the world. What does change the world mean to you now?
For me, this model played a huge role in what I did on my free time in college. Volunteering was a major component for me at Emory, as well as at DP. But at Emory, I volunteered at food drives, a meal packing organization, and one of my favorites was tutoring children ages 5 to 13. And I remember how that one-to-one help is what made me a better student and gave me more confidence in the classroom setting. So the fact that I was able to impact someone's learning experience made me feel really accomplished and proud of myself, but proud of those who I was tutoring, because I could see from when I stepped in the classroom in September how it changed from May when my semester ended with them.
For me, when I got into Syracuse, I got accepted through the HOP program. And when you get in through HOP, they give you like a mentor. So when I came in, I had a mentor who was a sophomore. And like anytime I had a question, anything that I needed, I would just ask her and I would just text her and ask her, and she would like be very helpful, give me information about the school and like things that I don't know about that could be helpful. So when I seen that, I was like, oh my God, like this is so good, because if I didn't have her, I would literally not ask anybody, because I would be like who am I going to go to? So when I seen that, that was something that I was interested in. And for the next year, for the new students, class of 2025, I applied to be an ambassador, and I got my own mentee. And that's somebody that I talk to like almost here and there. I text her to see if how she's doing, if she's keeping up with her classes, what major is she thinking about, and also meeting other freshmen and seeing them. And like, they will come to me and be like, Khadijah, hey, I'm looking for this. Where do you think I should go? What classes do you think I should take next semester? Just them being able, feeling comfortable to come to me to ask me those type of questions just makes me feel good about myself, and like makes me realize that like I'm helping them, and like maybe they can go and help other people. And like it's just like speaking and communicating with people and spreading information, because college is very big. A lot of stuff go around that like you would not know about unless like somebody comes and mentions it to you. So like me knowing what I know and telling them, maybe they can help others, and like we can all just help each other all at once.
So much for that. You're up, Dan. What would you have to say to that?
I think change the world for me means creating opportunities and resources like a democracy prep to really empower young kids from low socioeconomic backgrounds to 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 get to college and to really change the world for themselves. I think about when I'm in Harlem, when I'm on campus, I think about some of these social issues, and I'm confused as to why a lot of these issues aren't being addressed still today. Like why are schools like Democracy Prep, why are these schools like still like rare, you know? Like why is this issue still so pertinent? And why when you get to these campuses and you talk to these professors and people who study this, you know, this is what they do. It's like it's not being addressed enough. And so it's like two different worlds almost. And you know, I think it's really important that we continue to bring as many bright and talented students from these communities into these spaces so they can really speak on their own perspective and really make a difference for our community. I just think that's the way to fight through poverty and a lot of these issues.
Thanks so much. And Eduardo.
One thing I noticed, like when it comes to changing the world, it's about like the legacy that you leave behind. You know, it's the how who have you impacted and how have you impacted them. So for me, I mainly focus on my impact on other people and how I impact them. You know, being involved in so many like organizations and clubs. You know, like we have so many. We have ASO, we have BSF. You know, there's so much, and the amount of like effort and care you put into these um events and organizations, it just speaks on your character, and that's one thing I value is like my own character and like others character, you know. And that alone is just it speaks on what you bring to the table. And that's very important because you know, we need more people out there who do more than just talk. You know, we need people who do these things, who show what they're about, not just being ignorant and just saying that they want to help, you know?
I
agree with that.
that, Eduardo, like that's the key thing right there. You know, not just talking about it, but being about it. I think ultimately is an important thing. And somebody had actually asked to just interject really quick, if you could elaborate a little bit more on the Change the World project, like how your architecture major helped you to pursue change in making safer communities, and the Change the World project. How did that inspire you to do that?
So there's this one project I have coming up that I need to do, and it's a Photoshop project. And for that, I plan on doing, you know, systemic racism, right? And that's my focus. And gentrification falls into that one, that category. So earlier, I think it was, oh my god, the lights turned off. Anyways, so there was you see what happened in the Bronx, right? That project building that just like bursted up into flames, killing dozens of people because of poor maintenance. And that right there is really unjust, because there's people filing for these complaints, and you know, they needed fixing in that building, but the landlord or whoever didn't really care as much. And as a result of that, people died, and people, you know, homes were lost, property was lost. And that's really, really like something to talk about, because we are, that neighborhood is marginalized, and not, it gives them a reason to like want to come in our spaces and just I don't know, renovate them for, like, I don't know, people with higher power, higher money, just to make new homes, you know. And that's unjust, because we live there. This is our space, you know. And with my architectural like need to like change that, I want to make these homes and make these new models for us to be more safer, more suitable for living, you know. It's just like, and it's like other things, like it's not just that problem, but it's other problems in our community that like we need to change. And in doing so, I want to bring that, like I said earlier, like we can all bring something to the table in more ways than just one. And architecture, I think, is something that can be done to do that, you know.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask also, I know we were talking a lot about the Change the World projects, which I'm sure a lot of alums that are joining us today, teachers and even current students, are very well aware of. How did the civic education that you got at DP, how did that help you be an active citizen within your community? Like, how did that give you the push to be like, I have to do something?
I would say my freshman year at DP, I remember the staff placed an emphasis on civic engagement. And so for me, volunteering wasn't new, but when I got to college, but um, I found other ways to give back. And I remember um, the two major civic engagement events I participated in at DP were Get Out to Vote and the Day of Service. And once I got to college, there I was registered to vote because I was already 18, but there were a lot of people my age who weren't registered yet. And like I did, well, in DP, I didn't help register to vote. It was more of like standing on the corner, passing out flyers, asking people, are they registered, and handing out paperwork. But once I got to college, I sat in these events or in other schools and help people register to make sure that their voice is heard in the community and that they were able to be active um, in the political candidates. And that was something that DP instilled in us. And then the Day of Service at Emory, we had something called the Day of Service as well. So it was very interesting to see how the college of my choice had values similar to high school, and how it was something that wasn't new for me, but I found other ways to engage.
Just to echo what Kayla said, I think the Get Out to Vote movement was especially powerful for us because we as kids, 12, 13 years old, we understood, we learned that we had a lot of power to make a difference in elections. And, I remember going out and talking to my neighbors, telling her about, why she's registered, why she should go out and vote. It'll take 5 minutes. And I learned that if you want to get something done, especially if you want to see change, the way to do it is to organize, is to go out there and to be confident and talk to people. And I learned I had a lot of voice at a young age. It was a wonderful experience and a wonderful opportunity. I'll never forget that.
Thank you for that. And I would actually want to pivot because I know that the Q&A said this as well, but I know this is a big one. Knowing all of this and knowing how much your life has transpired and knowing about the impact that, DPS had on you and how it's changed a lot of what you're doing now, what piece of advice would you give current DP kids, current DP scholars that may be kind of like in the in-between, not knowing if this is going to pan out the way they want to, not sure if they know where they're going? What is some advice that you would give as an alum to any of them?
I would say take advantage of all the resources DP has, whether that's after school office hours, applying to international trips, and even the captain's program. For me, the captain's program is what helped me get through college, not only the financial support, but the academic support and emotional support. I was a captain, so I served as the liaison between alums and the AR staff. And I saw how those monthly check-ins or how people were able to receive information and help they needed. And as a captain, I too received support. So it was a two-way street. And I was able to relay information to my former peers about the resources that they wouldn't have known about if we didn't keep in touch. So I would say use all your resources. DP is very resourceful, very helpful, even beyond high school. They've helped me buy books. If I had a tuition gap, they've helped me. So use your resources and go to tutoring, because I was someone who didn't always advocate for myself, and that's something that DP has taught me to do. So once I got to college, if I wasn't getting chemistry, I went to every tutoring every week, no matter how many times I failed a quiz. And it helped me be a better student and a better person because I was able to speak up for myself.
Anybody else on this? What impact would make sure that you actually were prompted to like tell these kids? What would you tell any of the current scholars at DP? Especially, I would even push for anybody that just graduated even right before the pandemic. What would you say?
For me, I would tell them to enjoy their high school experience and enjoy everything that comes with it. Like when I was in high school and when I was going through 9th, 10th, and 11th, like I was really trying to rush. I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to leave Democracy Prep. I can't wait to go to college. I can't wait to be alone and be free. But now that I'm in college, I miss the school. Like I miss everything about the school. And I can't even believe myself for saying this. And if it's like staff members from my school, if they was to see me saying this, they will be extremely shocked, because I was one of the students that always like, why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do that? And now being here and seeing how impactful and how helpful all those things that they had in line for us, like going to school early, having lunch detention, having a lot of homework, mandatory tutoring, and all of that stuff. Like I really appreciate that they had all of that for us. And I would really tell the kids right now in high school to like actually use that and actually take that as a way of them showing that they care for you. Because in college, like your professor, they're just gonna tell you, you need to come to class, you need to do this, you need to do that. But unless you create a one-on-one bond with them, they don't really care about if you do the assignment or not. So having that support system and having people there for you in DP that are going to tell you, do your homework. I want to see you win. I want to see you graduate. I want to see you attend the college of your choice. You should really appreciate that, because college is like the real world, and you're not going to get those type of people a lot anymore when you graduate.
So just to echo Khadija and Kayla, the first thing I would say is, one, you can do it. College is not easy. It's going to be difficult. And the real world is not easy. You know, as you learn, I'm sure the adults can attest to it. It's a little difficult, but you guys can do it. You guys have a duty. You guys are going to be the next generation of change agents. And, you know, it's a big task. It's not a small task, but you guys have all the skills that you need to do it. Democracy Prep is preparing you guys well to be change agents, and just make sure you stay, continue to build your confidence, stay confident. And another one would be, don't afraid to ask for help, because you guys have a system of, you guys have alumni who care about you, who love you, who understand, who see your potential, and we're gonna pour into you as the alumni. My alumni have poured into me, and as teachers have poured into me. So don't be afraid to ask for help and ask for support. And you guys are gonna make it happen. You know, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And I wanted to kind of throw this in and ask from the Q&A, do you have like a fond memory of like a specific teacher that was definitely one that was like the one that did it? I was like, yes, like obviously a bunch of game changers. We are definitely fully surrounded by a bunch of game changers. Was there one that was like, Mr., you did this for me and I am forever changed for the good?
For me, all my teachers were great, but the one teacher was Mr. Rice, and he was my English teacher in ninth grade. And then my junior year, he was my advisor, my homeroom teacher, and also my English teacher again. And my ninth grade year, transitioning from public school, DP was a different atmosphere. I was always a great student, but I had to put in more work to get the grades that I wanted to see. Whereas before, like, I knew my stuff, but I didn't have to put in as much work going to public school. And so Mr. Rice pushed me. And in ninth grade, I was a little bit rebellious, and I was like, why? Like, is he always asking me questions, or is he always picking on me? But he wasn't picking on me, is that he knew I could do better. And so he pushed me. And once I got to junior year and he was my advisor, we have this thing called Nerd of the Week, when it recognized you for your improvement. And I had never won Nerd of the Week until my junior year. And it was because Mr. Bryce, he saw all the progress from ninth grade Kayla to junior year Kayla. And I appreciated him pushing me, because I interned for him. I stayed after school. I got all my work done in school before going home. And he just instilled like values in me, and he helped me to be a better student and a better person, because he knew I could, and he knew that when I wasn't giving my all, it was just me being lazy and not that I didn't know the work. So shout out to Mr. Rice.
I would say that, yeah, all the teachers were helpful, but for me, it was my principal, Mr. Daniel, who was my he was my history teacher in sixth grade. And when we went to high school, he became the principal. And like, I really love and appreciate Mr. Daniel still till this day. Like, he saw potential in me when like everybody else was like, no, like, I wasn't the best student. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was not the best student. And when like an opportunity will come, all the teachers will be like, but Khadija acts like this, and that. But Mr. Daniel always was able to vouch for me, and he saw better in me. He saw that I could be my best self and be the person that I am. And throughout like my high school experience, I changed tremendously because of his help, and seeing that this gets me very emotional because I really love Mr. Daniel, but it just takes that one person to really believe in you for you to like see your potential and see how good you can be and how good you can become. And I really appreciate him for that. And still to this day, I always text him. I always make sure like, hey, this is how I'm doing in school. I hope you're doing well. I hope none of the kids are giving you a hard time. Like, I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate him for everything he's done for me.
Thank you so much. And I mean, it's the impact I don't even have words, because like just thinking about like certain teachers that have been absolutely instrumental and crucial, and to have somebody be such a pillar in the midst of an environment that's so rigorous yet so loving is just a beautiful thing. And I would even throw this in and ask for anybody that may be wondering, like anybody that transitioned from a school that may not have had that much rigor, like how was it transitioning over? Like something as maybe trivial as how is transitioning from a school that really wasn't about uniform to wearing uniform on a regular basis at Democracy Prep. And I would even start off with Eduardo on this one.
Yeah, I'll tackle that because I feel like I'm like the perfect example for this. So my freshman year, I'm a sophomore year of high school. I went to Mott Haven in the Bronx, and like it was very, very easy, like extremely easy. But I knew I wasn't gonna get anywhere with it. And in terms of resources, like we barely had any, and a sport I played a lot in high school was football, and they didn't have that. And so, having a lot of free time because you only had school from 8 to 2, and had a lot of free time, and I would just like waste my free time doing God knows what, I forgot. But we were supposed to wear a uniform, but that school just like the kids didn't care; they just wore whatever, and it just died basically. But it was like good people. It was just like just not me, like I wasn't gonna get anywhere. So I transferred to Democracy Prep, and we had to wear uniform. There was demerits, there was um town halls, all these stuffs that like my school never had. And like wearing uniform, like particularly, didn't really like, it's just clothing. At the end of the day, it makes my life easier because I don't have to come to school with a fit planned out, for the next day. But but this school did have flag football. It had the international trips. It had like these basketball events, homecoming, like these stuff like my other school never had. And for that, I'm grateful because football was very important for me in high school, and playing for DP, like it just kept me focused my whole entire high school. And a teacher, going back to the last question, a teacher that really impacted me, especially when it came to football, was Miss Roth. I never had her, but like I just like, how people just like come into your life like unexpectedly. She was that person at DP, and she really like pushed me, and I ended up playing flag football and then going to playing tackle football my senior year. And that same year I ended up winning my championship, like New York City championship. And that I would forever be grateful for her for that, because if it wasn't for her and other people, of course, like I wouldn't have like pursued it, you know.
Um,
Oh,
sorry, Kelly, you want to go ahead?
You can go.
Okay, so I remember my transition. It was many moons ago, but I do remember my transition from PS26 to Democracy Prep. I was a good student at PS26. I was very proud of my Bs, my B pluses. But when I got to the 6th grade at Democracy Prep, I started failing classes. I wasn't ready for the rigor. And I remember my 7th grade summer, I had to do summer school in writing. It was the first time I had to do summer school, and it it really was, it was like looking in the mirror. I didn't realize, you know, I didn't understand what was going on. So it was challenging at first, but what happened, which is kind of interesting, was that I started to really become more confident in the material, and I started to really challenge myself to study and to ask for help. And miraculously, I started doing a lot better. And so I will say that the transition isn't easy, but what happens is kids start to blossom. And that's what a school like Democracy Prep was able to do for me. And it was very, very necessary for after high school and into college and where I'm at now. So I definitely am grateful for them giving me all that tough love.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask this as well. What is something that, you know, looking back on, you think would be great for future scholars to have as an improvement for Democracy Prep? What do you feel like can be built up and built up off of what your schools have already started? Because some of you guys are like the inaugural graduating class. Looking at you, Harlem Prep. So in that regard, like what would you like to see for the future?
For me, I would like to say that Democracy Prep helped me when it comes to academic wise and like knowing how to be a scholar, know how to turn in your assignments on time, being on time, and all of that stuff. But I wish they would have done more to help me better, like be more of like a social person in some way, because when I got to college, I mean, when you get to college and the colleges that you go to, you're meeting people from all around the world. Like you're seeing everybody. Like being in Syracuse is a huge school. I see Asians, people from Africa. It's a lot of international students. So being able to like, I guess like necessarily they can't help you like be more outspoken and stuff like that, but having more things to help students be like more, they can't, how do I say this? I'm having a hard time like saying this, but like helping students become more social in a way, because me as a person, like I talk a lot, like I like to talk, I like to go out and meet people, but looking back and seeing like other students that might have went to DP and might have just been focused on their like books, I know when they get to college, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to try out for this org. I don't want to go to this event. I don't want to be in no orgs. I just want to focus on school and focus on class. So having that balance of, yes, you can be about your schoolwork, but also don't be afraid to step out your comfort zone and go to like meetings, go to events the school are planning, could be also very helpful.
So I talked about feeling, you know, a lot more confident in terms of being able to handle the work. And I think that was, you know, I think that I learned that through the system at Democracy Prep. But kind of what Khadija said, when you go into these colleges, you'll run into kids from all types of socioeconomic backgrounds. You'll run into rich kids, upper middle class kids, and a lot of these kids have been poured into them since they were babies. And so because there's still a lack of kids from lower class and working class communities in these spaces, at times you can feel that imposter syndrome, that feeling that you might not be good enough, even though you know you're good enough. You know what you had to do to get here. You had to go through Democracy Prep. You had to, you know, deal with whatever's going on outside. You know you're good enough, but still, because you might not feel as articulate as those kids who've been being poured into since they were young. You deal with that imposter syndrome. So I think in terms of like the vocal confidence, just feeling like you know, don't be afraid to speak up. You know, don't be afraid to speak and share your perspective, because you know the world needs to hear your perspective. That kind of drilling, I think, could have been you know, could have been more useful, and it's something that I'm kind of you know, trying to work on now. But I think that would be definitely a useful thing to teach at Democracy Prep.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I would like to piggyback off to what Daniel said. I definitely, coming to BC, I definitely had imposter syndrome because BC is definitely a PWI right? And you know, and I'm a person of color, so there's a huge like a huge awkward, you know, um sectionality type, you know, like you're, if you feel separated. However, we do here have like a safe space, and like a safe space for like people of color, right? And they're all like interconnected with like the clubs and organizations, right? So I feel like for like a student at DP, you know, I didn't like, it was more like academic based, right? And I feel like speaking on the more social like aspect that Khadijah was talking about, I feel like that's more like, that's also really important, because um, we all feel stressed, we all feel you know, um, that we're not enough, or it's like too much. But I think like a safe space for us to just like calm down and just having to talk to each other, you know, because I'm in this black male organization called DIOP, and we just like talk about you know, events and issues that are happening within our campus. And you know, just a safe space to talk is, you know, the bare minimum.
Thank you so much. And I know that Khadija did have to bounce because she had to get to the bus back to the city. But I did want to ask this last question. In Oprah Winfrey's interview, she always says, you know, or she asks, what do you know for sure? And I mean, I'd like to say the same thing for all of you guys. What do you know for sure?
I can say I know for sure that I'm in the right place that I'm supposed to be in. We often get caught up in thinking about where we should be and don't get to enjoy the now. And even when I think I should be further along in my journey to success, I take a step back and I'm grateful for the present, because some people didn't make it this far. And I can say that not only am I a high school graduate, but I am my mother's first child to graduate with my bachelor's. Um, so I know that I am in the right place, even though sometimes I think I should be doing this or I should have been here. It's hard to accept the now, but I'm learning to be grateful and just to be present.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Um, One thing that I know now is I know I'm going to make a difference. And, you know, I talk about confidence and, you know, it might not come out at times, but I can wake up and say that I know that I'm going to make a huge impact on my community. I have a love affair with Harlem. And I'm just so grateful to, you know, this, I'm not being paid, you know, I'm just so grateful to have a school that was able to pull into me the way I need to be pulled into, and to be able to get to this, the be a first generation, a kid to first to graduate like Kayla, and to be where I'm at now. I know I'm going to make a difference. I'm exuding confidence, and I'm just grateful to be in this space that I'm in now.
And I love that. I am gonna get this done. I am going to make this difference. We are champions, nothing less. Like we
No
are.
excuses.
No excuses. Never that. Eduardo.
Yeah, I definitely, what I know now is that I'm definitely in the on the right track. You know, like most people would have an idol or someone they look up to, but I don't necessarily have one. I have examples of people who I don't want to be. You know, I'm always surrounded by people who, you know, like friends who are like, you know, on the streets, people are homeless, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And those are my examples of people who I don't want to be. That's how I don't want to end up, you know. And but I also have people who I want to impress, you know. It's like my mother, for example, and my family. You know, like I have a lot of people who I look up to, and being here, like I know I'm on the right track, you know.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Eduardo. And thank you guys so much for contributing, for speaking, for doing everything and more. I wanted to pass it over to our legendary Miss Natasha Trevors.
Thanks so much, Norberto. Thank you so much to all of you. There's two quotes that are running in my head right now. One from a 20-year-old school board member in Providence that I met on a panel the other day. And he said, to solve problems in education today, we just need to ask young people the right questions and then listen to them. And I felt that coming through as you all were talking this evening, that you're all so brilliant and so keyed into your community and into what could solve problems on a host of issues, but definitely education. And I'm so grateful that you were so generous with your time this evening to share those gems with us. I really appreciate you for that. And the second quote running through my head is just like, we should give people their flowers when they're here, not when they're gone. And next week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And I'm so grateful that you all took the time to think about, educators that really mattered in your life and calling their name and actually speaking about what made them so powerful. I think educators don't do the work for like a lot of fancy things or a lot of accolades or praise. They really do it because they know it's making a difference. But it was really powerful to see you give them their flowers and in time for Teacher Appreciation Week. So I'm really grateful to you all for that. You are all so brilliant, doing so many amazing things. And I can't wait to, stalk you on Twitter or Facebook if you're on, those are probably old social media platforms at this point. It's for the old folks like us, but stalk you wherever I can find you. And we are building an alumni network through our alumni advisory board. So we hope that you guys get involved with that platform once it's up and running. But thank you so much. I'm going to pass the mic back to Norberto. He actually has some great leads on some jobs. So if there's alums in the audience right now that are looking for work, we definitely want you to hear this announcement. So listen up.
My people, we have enjoyed your presence, albeit through Zoom. You have been great. And thank you again so much to everybody involved with this. As Natasha was saying, we do have some links for you to join the Dream Team in the best way possible. Who better to be around the current scholars in the current community than the people that came out of it. And I think it's a really important thing to see. I've definitely been deeply humbled and impacted by the fact that I currently work with some people that are, really lifelong friends, some people that taught me, some people that I have like taught through other like DP venues, and some people that were my classmates that are now dream coaches and like English teachers. And I'm like, whoa, look at us now. And I think that's a really good thing to see. So I'm putting a link right now in the chat to basically apply for the Dream Team. There is a host of many occupations that range from grade levels, departments, operations, student support positions, everything under the sun of Myriad, to allow you to simply apply, join us, come into the fold, and see the amazing transformative work that is being done on a daily basis that a lot of people, including the people on this panel, can definitely attest to. And for those of you that are still maybe perusing and you're like, I don't know if this is it for me yet, or if this is something that I want to do yet, or maybe there's not something that like quite fits it, I'm also dropping another link in the chat that will give you updates. There's always stuff that comes up. There is always positions that are readily available, and we're always ready to welcome more people into this family. Definitely join us, definitely be a part, and let's continue to change the world. I think that's the best way to say it. Just, what we do, and very happy to have you guys join us whenever you can. Thank you so much for a terrific evening. Thank you, panelists. And ultimately, on that note, have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all so much.
Guys.
Bye. Good luck tonight, Eduardo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.